Joining us live from Bangkok is Michael Bociurkiw, a global affairs analyst and founder at World Briefing Report. He's also a senior fellow with the Atlantic Council. Thank you so much for being with me, sir. I appreciate it. While global attention is so focused on the Iran conflict, what impact do you think that's having on the war in Ukraine right now? Are we seeing any shift on the ground?
Sure, good to be with you. Well, yeah, it's caused a big difference for Ukraine. There is now a worldwide shortage of Patriot missile systems and other kit that ordinarily helps to defend Ukrainian cities. There's a shift in attention for sure. And, despite the Zelensky administration assisting U.S. allies in the Gulf, Mr. Trump is still not only pressuring Ukraine to cede territory, mostly the Donbass, but he's also lifting sanctions on Russia, for example, the oil companies, which means billions of dollars of new income to fund Russia's war machine. So even though on the one hand, we may say that Ukraine seems to be playing with a fuller deck of cards, on the other hand, with the Trump administration playing the games that they do, it puts Kiev in a very difficult position.
We are reporting large-scale Russian drone and missile attacks in recent days. What does that tell us about Moscow's aims at this stage of the war?
Yeah, well, it tells us what we've been saying for a long time, is that they're not a credible partner for peace. And, you mentioned in the run-up to this interview, the attacks on Odesa. So I'm normally based there. And these thugs, these Russian war criminals, hit once again, not for the first time, but once again, a maternity hospital where there were 22 mothers in labor and 19 newborns. That tells us everything I think we need to know about the Russian attitude. And you may remember in the first 3 weeks of the war as well, that horrible, horrible strike on a maternity hospital in Mariupol. We thought that was a red line, and it never was. So unless, the US, European allies and Gulf allies stand up and defend Ukraine for these heinous war crimes that are being committed by Russia, this will continue to occur on a pretty much daily basis.
From Kiew's perspective, how politically realistic is any deal that involves giving up territory? We've talked about it so much, but is that even possible now?
No, it's a non-starter. I just was listening to Kira Rudik, the head of one of the biggest opposition parties in Ukraine, and she said there's no way, and I agree with her, there's no way that any Ukrainian president can sign an agreement that basically overnight would commit, possibly hundreds of thousands or even more than 1 or 2 million Ukrainians to Russian occupation. Because every Ukrainian we've spoken to that has come under Russian occupation in the Donbass describes that experience as hell on earth. And that's exactly what would happen. So non-starter. And, let's remember that it was Russia that started this aggression, that invaded Ukraine. So the country that's being attacked should not be in a position to give up territory. And it really pains me as a neighbor of the United States, I'm Canadian, that the US seems to be pushing this bargaining item, is that Ukraine should give up territory. No way, it can't happen.
And with attention and resources potentially being pulled toward the Middle East, is there a risk that Ukraine becomes a bit of a forgotten priority for Washington and its allies?
Well, to be perfectly frank with you, I'm a bit worried about these new deals that Ukraine has signed with the Gulf states, namely Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, because, the Gulf countries, if they really want to crack down on Russia and help Ukraine, and crack down on a Russia which is helping Iran target their countries and U.S. military installations, you know what they should do? They should say, okay, for now, no more Russian investors, no more Russian property buying. You can't park your multi-million-dollar yachts here in Dubai anymore, and even temporarily stop the flow of Russian tourists. I think that would really put the pressure on the Russians to rethink what they were doing, not only in Ukraine, but also in the Gulf. And one more quick thing, the Gulf countries for the longest time have conveniently turned a blind eye to that big pipeline between Iran and Russia, that flow of drones that has been going from Tehran to Moscow. And, now they're paying the price for that. So I hope this does jolt them awake to take a different attitude towards Moscow.
So overall, just give me a bit of a sense of where we're at the moment then. Does this moment strengthen Russia's position? Is Russia in a good place right now? Or are there still limits to what Moscow can actually achieve?
Well, when you look at the numbers, the recent U.S. actions to lift sanctions on Rosneft and Lukoil, the biggest oil companies in Russia, sanctions were placed in October, but now they've been lifted. So that adds as much as $200 million a day to the Russian war chest. So, I think this is the key problem here is unless you choke the Russian economy and the flow of money to the Russian war machine, the Russians will keep on going. Because at the end of the day, for Mr. Putin to lose this war, to say, okay, that's it, we give up, that will be the end of him as well, I believe, and so do many other analysts. So it's really, really important that there's a coordinated approach to choke that Russian war machine, and then the Russians will, hopefully some sense will come to their heads, and they will come to the bargaining table in good faith.
Okay, Michael Bociurkiw, we really appreciate your insight there. Thank you so much, as always. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again very soon on this same topic. Speak to you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.